One advocate for sustainable development, Mark Douglas, has responded to suggestions by former Caribbean diplomat Sir Ronald Sanders for Dominica to review its membership at the International Whaling Commission. Sanders questioned whether the island's membership in the commission is necessary.
When our government sent people to the International Whaling Commission meetings, nobody tells the country that they're sending them or tells them how much money they're spending on it or why they're doing it. And therefore people don't have an understanding of why it is we are members of the International Whaling Commission or how much money we're spending on it or why we're doing it. On the other hand, there's been an effective propaganda campaign by the Japanese and others, particularly those who support them in this region, and usually those are people who go to International Whaling Commission meetings, to suggest that somehow the Caribbean is badly affected by the existence of whales, because whales, for instance, eat fish is one of the claims that they make, and therefore because whales eat fish, it's depriving us of food, and that is totally untrue. The whales that come into the Caribbean eat krill, not fish, and when they come to the Caribbean, they're coming at a time when they are not feeding, but are looking to birth their calves. So, you know, this whole argument is a non-starter, and it is an argument that has been put forward by those who support the Japanese for reasons best known to themselves.
Former Caribbean diplomat Sir Ronald Sanders, but Douglas says Sir Ronald Sanders says that the Japanese are committed to the principle of sustainable use of whales.
Yeah, what Sir Ronald Sanders fails to say when he speaks of commercial whaling is that the Japanese are committed to the principle of the sustainable use. Sustainable use calls for the harvesting of living resources at levels which maximize the availability of the resource to the present generation without in any way jeopardizing its use and enjoyment to future generations. The Japanese, I mean, they've had a running battle with the environmentalists for decades now. Basically, in 1946, we have the International Whaling Commission was formed, and from 1986 there has been a moratorium on all commercial whaling because certain whale species were endangered. Now at the present time there are certain species of whales like the minke whale and the sperm whale as well which have recovered and which are in abundant supply. And what the Japanese are asking for, and also the Norwegians and the Icelandic people, they're saying that the species which are in abundant supply, we want to be able to harvest on a sustainable basis those particular species. It's not a policy of extermination. When they speak of commercial whaling, one sort of uninitiated observer would believe that it was some mass extermination of whales, which would be ridiculous, because what it would mean is that you would fail to have the resource for your future use and enjoyment.
Mark Douglas. More questions are being raised about the Speaker's decision to declare vacant 2 seats held by members of the United Workers' Party. The seats of Edison James and Hector John were made vacant after missing 3 consecutive sittings of Parliament. Lawyer for the United Workers' Party Don Christopher says the Speaker's decision is unfortunate.
It is an unfortunate mistake by the Speaker of the House, because as I would tell you that although Standing Order 15 states that seats are vacant, there's no indication as to who must declare the seats vacant. And of course, the Constitution is superior, and it is Section 40 of the Constitution which must prevail. Section 40 of the Constitution makes it quite clear that the High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any questions whether any person has been validly elected, any person who has been elected right, has vacated his seat. So it is the High Court who must give a determination whether the seats are vacant. And it is not the prerogative of the Speaker to decide that a seat is vacant. The President, the Honorable His Excellency Mr. Liverpool, only a few months ago indicated in the House the correct procedure on whether a seat is vacant or not. And it is sad that the Speaker has gone on to use Standing Order 15.2 to say that the seats of Mr. James and Mr. Hector John are vacant. She does not have the prerogative to do that. It is the High Court that must do that on an application by the Attorney General. So, in my opinion, at the moment, Mr. James and Mr. Hector John are still the representative, respectively, for Marigot and Salisbury.
Lawyer for the United Workers' Party, Don Christopher. Meantime, Member of Parliament and former leader of the Dominica Freedom Party, Charles Savre, says according to the Constitution, the Speaker acted within her rights.
Okay, for the record, let me say that I agree entirely with the statement made by His Excellency the President to the House of Assembly on the question of the absence of members from the House and the vacating of their seats. The President referred to Section 40 of the Constitution in particular, and I believe that persons who took time to read and to listen to what the President says and also followed the advice of the President and looked at Section 40 of the Constitution, they would realize that what the President said and what the Constitution provides is an appeal where anybody is aggrieved with regards to the election of a member to Parliament, if he feels the person was not duly elected, if he is aggrieved with the appointment of a senator and he feels the person was not in fact qualified to be so appointed, if he is aggrieved with the appointment of the Speaker by the House and he feels that the person elected Speaker by the House was not qualified to be Speaker, or if he is aggrieved with the vacating of the parliamentary seat by a member as a result of this member having failed to attend 3 consecutive meetings of the House, 3 consecutive sittings to which he was summoned, in all of those circumstances, the aggrieved party or parties have recourse to the High Court to put forward whatever arguments that they may have to seek to persuade the court to give a ruling that the thing which was done was not properly done, whether it was the election of the person, the appointment of the senator, the election of the Speaker by the House, or the voiding of the seat as a result of the person failing to attend 3 consecutive meetings of the House.
Former member of Parliament and leader of the former leader of the Dominica Freedom Party, Charles Savre. The Dominica Public Library has announced an amnesty for the members holding books that are overdue as part of its activities to observe Library Week this week. Chief Librarian Mandeline Robin told the ceremony to officially open the week of activities that the idea is to promote the library and the work that they do.